everybody? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys had a great week. I'm going to be reviewing today my recent meet at the NIAC, the North Idaho Athletic Club's local powerlifting meet. Unaffiliated, just kind of throwing it around on pound plates, a whippy bar, not specifically up to comp standards. We didn't have to wear singlets. So it was a pretty fun meet. One of my best friends from high school came up to compete in his first meet, and he had a blast. He put together a PR total, PR'd on all three lifts, hit a 900-pound total, so he's super excited about that. And yeah, he's looking forward to the next one. And I'm trying to give him some pointers on how he can best train, but yeah, I had a great time too. Going into the meet, I just wanted to go have fun and not really stressing about putting together any PRs or anything like that. I just wanted to go have a good time and go train with some guys. So as you can see, it's not on combo racks, it's not up to comp standard. There's about 20 competitors. There's only 3 weight classes per gender, so it was sub 191 for guys, and then 191 to about 230, I think, and then 230 and above. So 3 weight classes. I ended up winning the meet. They didn't calculate dots, but I won. I had the biggest total, and I'm pretty confident that I would have won on dots. I put together a 1565 total, so we're gonna be good just going through some lifts here, and then after we get through the short meet recap, we're gonna be going over what training is gonna look like, and then what we can look forward to going towards nationals. So I'm looking forward to share that with you guys, and hope you enjoy the video. So this video is only going to have third attempts because honestly, when I was warming up, there was a kind of a miscommunication between the meet directors and the scheduling. So I didn't have as much time to warm up as I thought I did because the flights weren't listed. So I just kind of went with openers that would have been probably 2 warm-ups before what I would have actually started to hit at a normal powerlifting meet. So starting off on squat, I hit a 495 for my first attempt, obviously flew. And then I hit 545 for a second attempt, it flew. Felt good. What I wanted to hit that I set out before the meet I wanted to hit was 585, and that's why I ended up taking for my third attempt. Didn't want to go too far. I wanted to stay in the pocket, just have a good solid SBD day. So here that is. It's on a rogue rack, 3x3. I don't really like squatting in rogue racks just because they're always so wide. I feel like I always almost hit the uprights on the way out, and I have several times. But yeah, this rack was bolted down into the platform. So just getting ready, getting locked in, unrack, getting set up, deep breath, squat down, and then as you can see, my back spotter got pretty psyched up for me. It was a fun meet in that manner, that it was loud. It was really echoey in that room, so it was really loud and just pure hype. It was a lot of fun. So one thing that I've been working on in my squat is that as I'm walking out, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not losing any brace. So getting set up here, getting underneath the bar, and wiggling into position, making sure I'm tight. So making sure I'm losing no brace and taking smaller steps and making sure I'm all locked in. The other thing I'm focusing on is trying not to move the bar up when I take in my breath. So I'm trying to make sure that that bar almost stays in the same place as I'm breathing in and pushing out into my belt, and not just filling up room in my stomach. I'm pushing out towards the belt and creating a better brace instead of having to almost shrug the bar up on my lats and on my traps just so I can create a vacuum of air in my gut so I can fill it up with air. Instead, I'm just focusing more on just pushing out towards the belt and reinforcing that belt to create more pressure. And I feel like that's been working out really well recently when I've been squatting. So I took my first attempt at 345, which I could probably hit a max of, I could probably pause rep that for 7 reps or 8. So that's a pretty comfortable weight for me. And then second attempt was 365, and then third attempt was 385. So that's what is on the bar right here. First two attempts just flew, and this one honestly kind of flew as well. Getting set up here on the bar. Same deal. This is a fat pad. Not one of their wider fat pads, but it was a fat pad nonetheless. Getting set up. I was kind of worried about benching on wood. I thought my legs and my feet were going to slip out from under me since there was a lot of people lifting this day. But you know, it was a good lift and it moved pretty well. Benching with whippy bars is almost I almost dislike it as much as squatting with whippy bars, just because that weight is like bouncing in your arms while you're holding it over your chest. But recently I was telling my friend, like, bench has been feeling so good. It feels like whatever weight you would put on that bar, I could just pause and go up with it. It just feels so nice. Like in 385 on a whippy bar with pound plates, like it just moved fine. One thing that I need to work on though, and you can see that here in my bench as I play it again, is that when I unrack the bar, you could argue that I have like pretty soft elbows. Not egregious by any means, but I would say that's one thing I need to work on is to make sure I'm really straightening out my elbows so I don't get the gnats and I'm just holding the bar forever there while they wait for me to straighten them out. Besides that, bench moved great. I won bench by, I want to say 40 pounds. I won squat and bench by 40 pounds. Next closest guy was pretty strong, dude. He totaled in the mid 14s, I want to say, and he was probably a 90 or a light 100. So, yeah, strong guy. So I was up 80 pounds going into deadlift in the meet, which that was kind of my main goal for this meet, was to just win and to win all three lifts and then win the total, obviously, and then if there was any prizes, just win those. But for the most part, just have a good time. So going into deadlifts, the guy who was behind me was threatening. He was lifting after me because it was a really weird setup, but he had pulled, I want to say 575. No, he pulled 585 for a second. So I knew I had to beat that. Originally, the plan was for me to hit 585 on my third. I opened up at 495 again, just ripped that. And then I did 565, and then I jumped into 595 just because deadlift felt good. The crowd was amped. I was having a good time. Normally at meets, I'm so low key, but for this meet, for some reason, I think it's just because I didn't have to focus too much on hitting my thirds because it was a meet for fun. I knew I wasn't going to hit any PRs, and I'm not trying to go to nationals or anything because it's unaffiliated and I've already achieved that. So I wanted to just have a good time, get the crowd into it a little bit. So yeah, that's what I did here on my third attempt. I'm just getting amped, yelling a little bit, getting locked in. Again, I loved I didn't have to wear a singlet. And I just ripped it. The bar was pretty whippy, but had good knurling. It was Elite FTS power bar, so it kind of reminded me of a Texas power bar with more whip and better knurling, but really similar to a Texas power bar. But yeah, we played that again. Yeah, just came up to the platform, get locked in, set my feet. I really wasn't trying to cue anything super hard. I knew I was going to hit this weight, so I just locked in and hit it. I was a little bit disappointed in I thought I was going to go a little bit faster, but this is the middle of the block. Like, this was just an SBD day in the middle of a block. Just go do for fun. We set up training a little bit around it. Like, I would say like 7 RPE singles, like going into this meet, and then a lot of these were 7s or 8s. So it's nothing really changed. It was just a SBD day towards the end of the block, and it was a fun day. Yeah, I ended up totaling 1565. I don't know the kilo conversion. I'll put it on the screen, but yeah, it was a good time. But I'm really looking forward to actually building something towards nationals and getting ready for that meet in the best way that I can. And a lot of that's going to be through programming and through nutrition. Before we go on, I just want to thank Nyack for throwing a fun meet. It was a good time, a lot of camaraderie. I love local meets where it's a lot of people's first times powerlifting. I just want to create a good experience for them so they stay in the sport. And it's always better to have a community of lifters that you know and you want to support and help out than just kind of going lone wolf, which I had done for a long time. Just go lift by myself, get stuff done, which is not bad by any means, but having people to throw down the rope to and help them achieve their goals is a lot of fun too. So it was a great meet, and if I wasn't so dang picky and spoiled with some of the meets that I've been to, I would be a little less hard on some of the meet infrastructure and just getting set up in the flights and the equipment or whatever. Like, in the end, it's a barbell and some plates and like just going and having a good time with friends. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for throwing a good meet. From a training perspective, we're going to be going into some hypertrophy here in the next couple months. For those of you who don't know, hypertrophy is essentially just growing the muscles you got, creating a bigger engine for you to produce more force and lift heavier weights. And how we're going to be doing that is doing some more bodybuilding centric. I shouldn't say bodybuilding because that's not the goal. Bodybuilding is a sport, but the training that bodybuilders do is almost exclusively training for hypertrophy, growing those muscles. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple months, growing the muscles, building a bigger machine in order to push bigger weight going into nationals. So what that's going to look like is a lot of volume. We're going to increase volume in order to stimulate that hypertrophy, because what we had been doing is reducing volume in order to acutely create an environment where we can push bigger weights and try to limit fatigue as much as possible. Now that we're in that growing phase, it's going to be more focused on packing on that volume and less on skill acquisition and maintaining skill. So the skill of powerlifting, the skill of squatting, benching, and deadlifting is generally focused right around when you're in the prep going up to nationals. Now that we're in this hypertrophy phase, it's going to be a lot of accessories, a lot of high rep sets, not necessarily any as much singles. We're still going to be pushing some heavy weight, but it's not going to be the focus anymore. The focus is going to be growing those muscles so we can produce the biggest total possible going into nationals. And here's how we're going to do it. So here's what this next block looks like for me. Just going to be going over some of the highlights. On the first day, week starts on Friday. It's a 4-week block, starting with the 2-count bench press on Friday. Going to be starting out at a 5 RPE, 1 set of 3 top set. We're going to be riding that top set of 3 all the way to the end, going from 5 to 7 RPE, staying pretty low. 3 sets for a back off, so that'll be interesting for sure. One of the things that has most helped me build my bench press here over the past couple months is these long pauses and soft touches. That's been crucial for building my bench, almost more than any cue. I feel like I've just made my own cues from doing these accessories. I'm just learning these skills through these self-limited ranges of motion, or self-limited techniques, or different tertiary bench styles, to just make it feel like I'm more comfortable on the bench and feel like I can lift more weight. So yeah, this 2-count bench big fan. Some more accessories on that day. Pretty chest back kind of a day starting out. Then on Saturday, same thing, top set of 3 on comp squat. We're going to be going from 5 RPE in the first week to a 7 RPE on the back end, and then a lot of back offs. First set of the back offs is a set of 5, and then 2 sets of 7 back offs for the final 2 back offs, and those are going to go from 5 to 8 on the top range. So that'll be fun. And then we have Larson press, which also a big fan of. Taking the leg drive out of it, just increasing that total gross strength and not really focusing as much on the comp technique, but making sure we're dialing in that gross strength. We have a top single, and that's going to go from 6 to 8 over the course of the block, and then we're going to have 2 sets of 8 on the back off. And then for accessories on that day, we're going to have some dips, leg extension, and some lunges just to finish off. And after that, we're going to have a rest day. Going into Monday's conventional deadlift. I only deadlift once a week because it's extremely taxing for me. We have a top set of 3, again, going out throughout the block, starting at a 5, going to a 7.5, so not getting too intense on the deadlift. And then for back offs, we have starting with 2 back off sets of 4 reps, and then we're increasing that throughout the block. So from there, have a back and like posterior chain centric day, starting with the chin ups, going to the leg curls, wide grip lat pull down, which I have not hit in a long time, so I'm excited for that. Normally I hit the narrow grip because I feel like I get a better squeeze at the bottom and I can have a better eccentric going back up, but I'm excited for the wide grip. It'll be good to hit that since I haven't hit that in several years, so that'll be good. And then we're going to have the single handle cable rows, which I am also a big fan of. Anything that can really limit the weight that you have to do to reduce the fatigue, like if you can get a movement that really accentuates the stretch or accentuates the range of motion without having to add load, I'm a big fan of. And all those accessories are through some pretty big rep ranges, the 10 to 15 rep range, to make sure we're maximizing that hypertrophy as much as possible. And then finishing off with some curls and lateral raises. Big fan of both those. And then going into Tuesday, we have the soft touch bench that I had talked about earlier. Probably my favorite tertiary bench. The tertiary bench that I think has built my bench press most out of anything, if I'm being honest. I would say instead of the 1 count, it would be a 2 count is the biggest one, but I'm really happy with soft touch bench. So I'm excited for that. That's also 1 set of 3 for the top, starting at a 7, and that's going to remain static over the course of the block. Potentially go a little bit heavier on that last week, but that's going to be mostly my tertiary bench day to make sure I'm not fatiguing myself out from the other 2 bench days. The big thing about this block is this is going to be the first time in probably 3 years that I've only benched 3 times a week. I'm a huge proponent of benching 4 or more times a week. I could bench every day of the week. I could bench 7 times a week, honestly, if I split up my training correctly. I do not get fatigued hardly at all, almost no matter what I do on bench. So it really takes some insane volume to fatigue my bench a lot. But I'm really excited to shift down and really focus on the bench days we have, increase some of the volume on those days, and increase the volume on accessories since we're so far out from competition. And then as we get closer, we can focus on some of those heavier weights. But for now, we're going to be maximizing the volume on the accessories and on the days we do have bench. So I'm excited for that. After the top set of 3 on the soft touch, we have back off sets of 6. So that'll be fun. A 3 by 6 from 7 to 8 RPE. So extremely hypertrophic state of doing compounds. I don't like to do compounds above 8 reps or so, but 6, fine with that. That'll be fun. And then going for the rest of the Tuesday, a lot of upper body accessories, a shoulder press, a tricep push down, lateral raises, all good stuff. Tempo push-ups, abs, it'll be fun. And then going into, and then all of those, before we go to Wednesday, all of those are also in that 10 to 20 rep range, depending on the accessory. And then on Wednesday, we have our tertiary squat and deadlift day. So we have a high bar squat. That's going to start off the block around a 5 and end around a 7 or an 8. So that'll be fun. That's staying static with the sets and rep ranges. We're going to stay at a 3x6. And then after high bar, we have our sumo deadlift. I do not pull super heavy when I do incorporate sumo most of the time. I don't think I really need to, is the thing. I like sumo a lot for what it can provide to my conventional. Some people don't think that sumo carries over much to conventional. I couldn't disagree more with that take. I have learned more about wedging and setting my conventional up to be successful from doing sumos more so than anything else. So I think it's a great tool for learning how to wedge. I think it's a great tool to learn how to brace and squeeze your lats, especially if you pull with a hook grip. It really puts you in a state where if you do not squeeze your lats when you do a sumo deadlift, like your torso is gonna be so far over, and you're gonna have so much tilt that it's just essentially gonna turn into you doing a hinge right at the hip and not you actually hinging into the bar and wedging up. So I like sumos a lot for that reason. Not going super heavy. We're starting off the block at a 4 RPE and we're going to end around a 6 or a 7. So nothing heavy. And what a 4 RPE looks like for me for a set of 3, a top set of 3 in sumo is 365. So I can, something that I can almost clean for a set of 3 for a sumo deadlift. So mostly just focusing on doing those properly, making sure I'm wedging really nicely so the weight just feels like absolutely nothing. And then we have, the top set of 3 and then a back off set of 3 at a lower RPE. Going into my favorite accessory for deadlift, the RDLs. Big fan of RDLs. They've helped a lot since I've, I didn't do RDLs a whole lot before I started getting coached by Maddie. So excited to continue to do those. Those have grown my deadlift and my low bar just so much. And then finishing off with some hack squats and Bulgarians. So that'll be exciting. I'm really excited for this block. I feel like this is one of those blocks where you just put in work. There's nothing exciting. There's probably not going to be any PRs, but man, this is the block that makes hitting PRs in competition possible. This is where we build. You just go in, get the work done, execute, and just stack good days of training. So in 7 months from now, you look back and say, cool, I didn't feel like I really did that much, but I just hit like 10, I just hit competition PRs all around, hit a dots PR, and I don't know where it came from. Well, it came from hitting blocks like this where you go and you just go in, do work, and execute. Build skills through different ranges of motion and different, and a little bit of different priority. So this is going to be a fun block. I'm excited to share the journey with you guys. As you guys can see, we got some exciting things coming up for training. Just talking about it in this video has made me so excited to just go string together good days of training to make sure we maximize this performance here at Nationals here in September that I just registered today for. So it's official. We're going. It's going to be super hyped, super exciting. I just cannot wait. Just got goosebumps thinking about going and lifting at Nationals and competing against the best lifters in the world and giving myself a target to shoot for going forward, I want to beat those guys. Like, I don't have that. I don't really believe in like the gym enemy thing. Even for people who are stronger than me that I see lifting at the gym, that's not my target. I need to set the trajectory towards people like I want to beat to be the best. So for me, that's going to be the people I see at nationals. They're at where I want to be in a year or two from now, like lifting some really heavy weight and just being almost unstoppable. So that's what I'm aiming to be. I don't want to set my trajectory towards someone who can score 5 more dots than me. I want to put my trajectory towards someone that is lifting 100 more dots than me. So I'm really excited. Just talking about it makes me want to go lift again. I've already lifted today, but I just want to go hit the gym again and just put up weight. I'm just so excited to go forward. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going for a max power clean. We've had power cleans in this block because I love doing the Olympic lift sometimes just to keep that muscle memory ripe. I'm also going to go for a max high bar PR for reps. So the goal is 500 for 6 reps for high bar, which will go. I am very confident will go. I'm excited. For those of you who don't know, I lifted high bar until like a year and a half ago. My max high bar was like 565. So like I've got high bar on lockdown. So I'm excited to share that. You'll definitely see that on my Instagram and on Shorts before this video will be published. So that is if I hit it. So maybe I'll edit this part out if I don't hit it, and then you guys will never know about this. But if not, hopefully I hit it, and I'll see you guys in the next one where we're going to be talking about some controversy in the bodybuilding space. Tune in, be looking for that one, and I'd love to see you guys tuning into that video. So yeah, stay tuned. See you in the next one. Peace.